So the first thing is the introduction to GitLab, right? So we've set up our environment and we already know what we're about to work on. Let's discuss what GitLab is in case some of you are not aware or rather do not understand the meaning behind GitLab. So to make an example, 18 years ago, perhaps this slide should be updated. I'm not exactly sure when we were using Nokia phones, right? Was that 18 years ago? Perhaps before that. But we would have so many devices that we used to work in, so many pieces of software which we would carry or switch context to do various things. We would listen to music on one thing and switch to take maybe a physical camera, and we would have a phone and a calendar and basically an application or a device for a different purpose, an alarm clock, right? But that has all changed thanks to the smartphone, right? So we still use many of those appliances, and obviously a particular device might have an advantage over all-in-one device, right? The smartphone. But still, this is a great convenience, and this really allows us to work easily, fluently through our daily tasks, take photos, have phone calls, use an alarm clock, and so on. This is really saving us time and driving our initiatives and daily activities. So with that, we get back to what it means to develop software these days. So we're not using a Canon camera or a Casio watch or an alarm clock, but we are using a great variety of tools to do various tasks. So that means that as you develop software these days, you would need something for your security and something for your artifacts and something for your to do your project management. This naturally might dictate that you would use many different tools for that. And it's a possibility, but the problem, just like in the devices example, it makes it really hard for organization, right, to work and work in an efficient way. It really increases the cost you would put into your development process and the time that you spend maintaining those connections and working with all these different bits of software and different vendors. Right now, you are here with me and Yasser on this workshop, and with Helena also, who helped promote this workshop. But you might have to have 10 more of these workshops per each of those devices and each of those softwares and each of those vendors, maybe a different ticketing system. So there are other hidden costs as when you buy a new piece of software that you need to consider. And this is really the GitLab approach in general and specifically to project management, right? We would want you to use something that has AI. The traditional reality that you might be doing things manually, you might be searching through documentation, you might have a different tool for documentation, you might be writing your own queries to get your information. But the modern expectation, rather the GitLab expectation, is that you would use AI for that. You use AI probably to generate slides or emails or various things that you would use ChatGPT in your daily life. Should you incorporate that into your work as you do project management? So that should be there, and that's the GitLab's approach to help you with generating issue descriptions, user story descriptions, and to have some context assistance as you write things, not having to work with queries, right? Or really difficult syntax. You would have AI do that through natural language and really achieve productivity. Same thing goes with automatic synchronization. As you work with several tools, you would need to synchronize that. You may need to have to update your status on each of those. Update your status on Jira and update something on the code management software or the where you run the pipelines. Maybe carry a URL with copy paste to different parts in order to create some sort of a connection. So that's really difficult. That makes you work to maintain the tools and make the tools work together. However, with a modern or rather the GitLab approach, things should be automatic. If you are finished developing something, really the issue should be closed, right? The issue should move from the backlog to the close and through the various stages. automatically. It should be visible. Nobody should have to guess or go and carry a URL or move from one tab to another or one login to another in order to realize what's being done. Are we on top of our work? Are we behind what's left? Same thing goes with the unified experience, really the exact same thing. Would you want to have multiple logins? You would probably need to do that in case you have separate tools. Imagine how easy it is for you to work with the Google products, right? It's so convenient to have a Gmail and to automatically be able to attach something from your Google Drive and instantly access maybe slides, and it's all very neatly packed together, or even with the Microsoft Office bundle, right? It's so much nicer when you have a platform. And that's again the GitLab approach to have a single platform for everything, which works seamless. You don't need to carry a URL, update things from one module to another. You don't have to maintain this. It doesn't break down. It's simply one platform with everything in it, right? So that's really the GitLab pitch. Let's discuss here about the first thing that we have to do, right? And let's go into the theory and then we'll have to do this ourselves. So the first thing when you do project management is you need to understand how you organize, track, and define your work. So with this, we will be creating an actual group to work on, separate from the issue group that now you're seeing. It's going to be a completely empty group, which we will have to build and form ourselves. So first, how do we construct that and what group it really means? This is how we organize things in GitLab to align with our organization hierarchy, let's say. So please consider these levels. Let's disregard organization. Let's consider that your top namespace or your business unit. No need to worry about that now. Let's just consider the bottom three: group, subgroup, and project. So these are the really essential building blocks of the organization. Group is probably a line of business. It does not necessarily needs to have a subgroup, right? A subgroup might be a team, right? A division. Let's say the group might be a certain product, and subgroup would be front end, back end, database, engineering, infrastructure, whatever. Just a suggestion, you don't necessarily have to have that, and you could have several descending levels up to the bottom part, which is the project. In engineering language, we might call this repository. This is where your code is being situated, right? This is the source code management unit. However, it's called the project because it also holds issues and project management entities, right? So that's really the main entity for working with project management. You would have projects which are situated within subgroups, which are situated within a group. Now, considering the work which we would find in these entities, we would have epics, sub-epics, and issues. Now, I imagine most of you here are project managers and product managers, so these are probably not new terms for you. But let's still try to explain those. An epic usually is the top level entity that we would have. And it's really, let's say, a feature or a wide capability. This will be broken down into sub-epics, which is really just a distinct feature. Epic might be a product, right? So maybe it might be, I don't know, Gmail, and sub-epic, the ability to attach something, right? And at the bottom, we would find issue, which is really the user story you might write for that. So you would want to have the user story. I would like to attach something from Google Drive or attach something from uploaded from my computer. So that would be the breaking down of the feature into actual uh, um, single user stories. Those can be even broken down into a more detailed entity called task. These are issue steps. These are the steps that you would need to do, or rather the developer do, in order to accomplish the issue, to finish it. All right, so I hope that is clear. Please feel free to ask in case this was confusing. And about tracking. So once we understand how to build the organization and then the dividing the work, now how do we track it? How do we display it in order for us to see if we're managing to implement it on time? So the first feature and the first term to know is roadmap. Obviously, it's a way to display the epics, to see them against the calendar or the weeks, let's say, in the form of a chart, right? And see how you're doing and how are you at finishing your work. Iterations is really the management of sprints. It's really breaking down into small periods and dividing work into those periods. This is agile management being done through a feature or a term called iterations. Finally, milestones are also a time box, just like iterations, but they are actually a larger time frame. This would probably be a, I don't know, MVP, right? Minimal viable product you might put, some sort of a time box for a grand event, launching of something, deployment, new feature being released, right? So that would be a way to encapsulate a certain initiative and then track work according to it and see how are you doing against the actual plan. So what we have here is roadmaps that would display these, or rather that would display time boxes, milestones, which are then broken down into smaller time boxes called iterations. All right, so let's put this together. So after we form everything together, we would have our organization built, structured with group, subgroups, and project level, right? We would have our work divided accordingly with epics on the group level, obviously, because we might have a capability, a screen, a product with the group level associated with it. Mind you, you could also have an issue right directly underneath it. On the subgroup level, this might be just a feature, right? Some standalone thing or something you could distinctly take apart from the capability. And finally, down to the project and the issue level. Issues are situated within projects. That's the important thing to take. Then, when we want to track it, we would be using roadmap on the group level to see how the group is doing. We could also be using roadmap on the subgroup level to see how the subgroup is doing. And we would be using milestones associated with the issues to see how that works all together, how the actual work on the issues fits within the time box or the time frame that we have defined. Was that clear? Any questions on this? Even if this might sound a bit theoretical, too theoretical for you, we'll be doing the exact same process, so you would be experiencing this for yourself. So I would hope that this would be clearer for you. In case you do have questions, please ask away. All right. Let's make a distinction between what we've just said and the actual work. Okay, so this was planning your work, but we also have entities and features for doing the development work. The first one that you would need to understand is the merge requests. As we plan our work, we create a work item called issue, and that would be associated with a merge request. You might find that more familiar in the term pull request, but that is the entity that really holds the changes to the branch or to the actual code that developers are doing. That will be associated with your user story. In case you have CI/CD, that means that any merge request, any changes to a branch would trigger a pipeline, running automatic tests, maybe security scans, and building things, doing everything that is required automatically. Um, in good practice, that would entail having a code review once the pipeline has finished and had gone successfully. Someone would be reviewing the code and then heading off to approval. Do we approve the merge in case there might have been a vulnerability detected? Maybe it's something that's negligible and so on. So there will be an approval process for the merge request in order to actually merge the code and perhaps even close the issue that you have opened. One thing maybe worth noting here for you to note that the GitLab is divided into roles on the principle of least privilege. We like to give users certain roles and privileges. What is best associated with project managers is the planner role. So that is really a role that allows you to do project management work, create entities, enter information relevant to that, and not having to deal or too much authority to work with the actual code. So that's what the role is. The fun thing to know about it that in our ultimate tier, this can be sold as a separate license, a rather cheap one. Okay, so that means that in case you want to onboard project managers on GitLab, you do not need to buy the most expensive license there. You could buy that for your developers maybe, but for the project managers and managers that usually work only with the planning part, you would buy this role, this feature for them at a discount price, which is very significant, just for you to know. Custom fields, just a fun fact, we will not be working on it. This is a really nice feature that was added just maybe a couple of months ago. It means that you are able to construct your own definition of what an issue is, or rather add fields to it. Each of you is coming from a different company, maybe a different industry. You are actually able to form what are the fields that will appear for an issue. Maybe you would want to put priority, maybe you would want to put department, maybe business impact of the issue. So you are actually able to form your own fields and create your own entities. So this is a really powerful feature that allows you to adapt the issue to the way that your organization is working and add fields to store information that is really relevant to the way you plan your work. All right. So having said all of that, let's go into the actual instructions, right? So please tab or put on the uh, first issue that we will be working on, the organized track, and let's get down to the steps. We will do perhaps a couple of steps, then I will let you go on a short break, right? Um, and we'll reconvene again. Okay, so let's start just with a couple of steps and we'll take a short break afterwards. So in this issue, right, we'll be forming the entities that we just described. We are going to create a new subgroup and create a project there, or rather import it, and do some planning work, okay? Labels that are required. So let's take those step by step. So the first thing, okay, we would want you to create a new subgroup. Please notice the breadcrumb on top. I'm actually here in this group, which is the Tanuki Racing Project Management Workshop. So what I would ask you to do, right? So this is the project, this is the group. You would head on to this group, right? And create a subgroup here. Please notice the instructions. I have done the exact same thing I asked you not to do. And please leave this open and just work with the separate tab. So in order for this to be convenient for me, I will duplicate this and I will follow the instructions here. So I will move in the breadcrumb, right? To the top level group here, which is this, the group according to my instance, and I would create new subgroup using the button. With the name, I will give this name. I really recommend you would add your name to it. It would make it simpler, right? So here I am copy pasting, leave all other settings as is, and click create subgroup. So here I am going to this group. Here I am creating a subgroup, pasting my group name. Please notice that you would have here the path, right? This should be automatically correct, right? and I will add here Daniel B to make it more convenient and create some. So with that, you have created a subgroup, right? You'll probably have an email sent to you as you do that. This group is currently empty. Please notice the breadcrumb. It's right where I situated it within our session, within the top level group generated for us. And this is now the private group that I have created. Please give me a thumbs up so I would know that you were able to do that. Thank you, Matthew. All right, simple enough, right? Creating a subgroup. Perfect. Let's wait another minute for people to follow this. Again, I really recommend for you to work with duplicate tabs or separate tabs, right? So you would have the instructions handy and being able to copy paste text as you need it. Good, we have several thumbs up. Let's wait a bit more. For those of you who have finished, please proceed to the second part of importing a project. Please notice that we will be importing a project rather than creating a new one ourselves. So here on step 4, we have here the link to the project that we want to copy. Within the subgroup that you have created, click on Create New Project, Import Project. There are several ways of importing project. We will be doing repository by URL, right? So here I am following this. Here's Create Project. As you can see, it's really encouraging us to actually create something. Let me collapse the sidebar here. Maybe this is what you should be saying. Import project, repository by URL. Please notice this button, right? Repository by URL. And paste the URL here. Now, please do that. And I will emphasize in case you don't have it immediately there. I actually have plenty of groups and namespaces here. Please notice that you are putting it in the right place, right? So that's why I asked you maybe to put your name on the group so it would be really convenient to find it. If you are new to GitLab, it might not be a difficulty, but I have lots of groups, so that really helps me find myself. So this would be the path. I am actually creating and importing the project into the right place, right? And as for the name, let's take it from the instructions. And I think, oh yeah, so just use the existing name, which is Tanuki Racing, right? I am copying it from here. And that would be my project name. No need to use the Git. So here I am ready. I've put the URL, which I copied from the instructions. I've given the name according to the project that I'm importing, Tanuki Racing. You could really add anything or maybe add here project, right? So it'd be very clear. And make sure that you have the right path here so it doesn't get lost, right? That's the group that you've just created, the subgroup. And here I am creating the project. Import in process. All right. So with that, you have created a new project within your group. Please notice the breadcrumb on top, right? Here's the top level group. Here's the subgroup, which I've created with my name. And here's the project within the subgroup, right? That's why I added the project here, the addition here. because this can be confusing. I remember my first time using GitLab, and I was not sure what am I seeing here. Is this a group? Is this a subgroup? Is this a project? It can be confusing for people who are not acquainted with the display, especially with the menus all looking the same on the left panel. But in case you do, you would have here your project and some files. Is that okay? Can I have a thumbs up for this? Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Thank you. And again, please excuse me uh, for taking time here, but I think this is important in order for you to do your work. So it's important for me to realize that you were able to do this. Let's wait another moment. And again, if you have difficulties, please use the chat or the QA to ask for help. Let's give this another moment. All right. So now let's proceed to step 3, all right? Planning with Duo Chat. So as you notice, I'm really trying to make sure that you are following this and you are on the right place. But luckily, we have the Duo Chat with us. Duo is the AI capability of GitLab, the framework on top of GitLab. And you could really use this to your advantage doing work, and perhaps in case you are getting lost and not sure what to do. So please notice that um, you could click the Duo chat on the top right of your screen here with this button, right? New Duo chat. And you would have this panel here handy with you in case you're missing something, in case you're not sure, in case you don't want to share it with us. We're here to help you. No need for you to have artificial intelligence when you have us. But in case you do want to use artificial intelligence, please feel free to do that. And if you want to ask, okay, Daniel wants me to go to the project issues, right? Or to the work items. Why don't you just ask it, right? Here I am doing just the exact same thing. So here, plan, issues on the left, and it actually gives us a link, right? Let's press this. So isn't it nice, right? I was able to press the link and it will just take me to the issues. So please feel free to use that. We have more complex steps up ahead. Feel free to use that in order to do that. Where is the Duo chat? So it's pretty much hidden here. You see here the crayon on the notebook, perhaps on the page, top right. Okay, great. So you have this panel with you. It's actually agentic. It actually do things for you, right? If you would ask it. But if you are lost, please ask it a question and it will take you there. All right. Uh, is there a security level for the? So I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. If you'd like to put this in detail, but there are limitations on what this can do, and for each users, obviously, right? So you would not be a guest user, let's say, asking it to do some code changes, and it would do it for you. Obviously, there are guardrails in place. Just generally answering this, GitLab is privacy and security first, especially when creating and crafting Duo. It will not do things that you're not authorized and have no permission to do. Keep that in mind, and especially it does not train the model. Anything that you would do here and asked is not training the model. Your code is not exposed. It's not learning anything from what you see here. All right. Let's proceed. Okay. So we are on step 4, and this step is for creating labels. Labels are there to help us really categorize things and direct our work. So what you are being asked to do here is again to go to the all-encompassing panel on the left, right? This time to manage and labels. Please notice to do this, not on this project here, not on the issues project, but rather the project that you have just created and imported. You have two projects, the one with the instructions and the one that is personal to you that you've just created yourselves. So what you're required is to go to the right project, right? The Tanuki Racing project under your new subgroup, manage labels. All right. So what we will be doing here is creating several new labels, right? So the first one we would want to create is P1, right? So let's click here, new label. I'll title it P1 as required. We would need to select a color. I will just go by the order of the colors here. Create label. Please notice that we are required to do several of those, actually three more. So we've already created P1. We'll create P2 and also these scoped labels. Please notice what I'm doing. I think you'll find that easy. Here I am copying this, the whole thing. Here I'm creating a new label. And just save me the trouble of going back and forth. I'm deleting this, selecting a color, and here's P2. And creating a new label as required. This time a scoped label, workflow planning. I'll select the color. And now the last one, new label and workflow review. So if you have done that, you will notice that you would have these four new labels appearing here. Please do that. Those of you who have completed, please let me know with thumbs up. Great, great. Easy enough, right? And I think it's even easier if you remember to keep the instruction issue open and just tabbing back and forth, right? Let's wait another moment. Great. I'm glad. All right, so we've created these labels. I have not yet explained to you what those are. So labels are actually just what they sound, okay? These are sort of stickers that you are able to put on your issues, on other work items in order to categorize them. Maybe signal those, maybe filter according to those. It's a way of really tracking and dividing your work. We'll see that in action on the board. And this is a feature that is cross GitLab and many other features. It's included there. So please notice the scope label that we have put here, the workflow planning and the workflow review. Those are a bit different than the P1 and P2. Those are standalone and those are scoped. We've used the double colon mark, right? In order to create those. And this means that they cannot coexist. This means it's either workflow planning that you put or either workflow review. That's the meaning of having a scoped label. All right. So with that, let's head on to the board. All right. Now, what we are required to do is to create a new board and to put those issues there. So let's go again to plan and this time to issue boards, right? Please notice again that you're going on the right project, the one you created and not the one that you're viewing here. you'll create a new board. Click on Create New Board. Within the drop-down that says Development, you already have an existing board, so please use the drop-down and create a new board and enter the name Team Scoped Board. So here I am copying it and heading over to close this plan. Issue boards. Here's the development showing me the current active board, and I'll be creating a new board. Team scope board. Please notice that I'm leaving those two open and closed right there. Create the board. So in case you're missing it, you can always go to again, to the drop down and select the board in case it somehow returned to development. Always know you can go back to it. It's right here. So now we need to design it, right? So what we need to do is click the plus new list button on the right, and we would want to add the labels and add workflow planning, right? And add workflow planning and actually also workflow review. So here I am going here to the plus new list label. It's already there. And I'll be selecting help you workflow planning added and workflow review added. So now I have this board that I've created with four panels, with four columns, open, workflow planning, workflow review, and closed. All right, simple enough. All right, so as we add issues, they would have labels on them and we would see them here, right? So far, we have not created issues. The last thing I want to do before taking a short break is to create a milestone for the issues, right? So step 6, again, going to the plan, as you already understand, this is the main module of focus on the panel. Plan, milestone. And we'll be creating a new milestone, and we will be calling it Tanuki Racing Migration Milestone. So, plan, milestones. New milestone. The name would be Tanuki Racing Migration Milestone. And we were asked to put the start date of today and due date 1 week. So here's today, due date next week, and create milestone. Simple enough. Can I get a thumbs up? Thank you, guys. Good, good, wonderful. So let's take a short break, maybe 5 minutes. I will give more breaks ahead, okay? Let's use that maybe to have some coffee and maybe do some work, answer the mobile, and let's continue in 5 minutes if that's okay with you. I hope. We're here for questions, by the way, so in case you want to ask, use that time to ask us some questions. Please feel free. You're welcome. Oh, I was talking to myself the whole time. I can't believe it. Uh, anyway, so our time's up. So thank you so much for your questions. Again, I think with AI, you would have less tabs open and possibly be more on top of things. Um, but yeah, I completely agree with you. Um, Tabbing should be something that you work with, but keeping under control. Anyway, so we're back and we'll be continuing on our steps. So far, we've defined the frame, let's say, okay, or the entities supporting the issues, and now we'll be actually doing the actual issue creating and the work items, right? So I hope everyone is back, and now we'll be actually doing the real work. For this task, you are required to go to Plan, Issues. Please notice that is no longer listed like that. It's listed as Plan Work Items. That will be my comment for any time you see this. It's no longer Plan Issues, it's Plan Work Items. So as you go there, you'll be creating a new item and we'll give it the title of Create Project Wiki, right? That will be the first issue that we create. So here I am already copy pasting it. In this trick, make sure that you are in plain text, okay? We'll notice that in a bit in order that we will be able to use Duo. So here I am back on my project, this time going to Plan, Work Items, and create a new item, Issue, and this would be the title, right? I am not done yet. Here I am tabbing back to GitLab, and please notice that there's a Tanuki icon, right? When you edit the text, right? And we will be using this prompt here for Duo in order to create a skeleton for us. Please notice this little icon here. It's really something that is missable, right? So please notice it here. This is the Tanuki magical icon there for Duo. It's only available when you are in plain text, not rich text. So please notice that you're here. I'll be clicking it and I'll be using Duo to generate a description for me because why would I go through a lot of trouble if I could have AI write something for me? So this is the prompt that I'm putting. Here I am clicking submit. And after a couple of moments, it's actually generating an issue description for me. This is how AI is being incorporated into the platform all over, not just for project management. You would find these AI features. You would not have to use ChatGPT or tab away or open a new agent. It's just there, available for you. And here I have a description generated for me for creating a descriptive project wiki. Isn't it nice? Now, I have some other things that I need to do. The first is to assign myself, right, as the issue owner, right? So please notice that it is here on the top right. I don't need to edit. I have it really handy here, assign myself to the issue. We would be also be assigning the milestone and the label P2 and the weight or a certain weight. The example here is 2. So let's do that. Here I am putting the label P2. Here I am putting the milestone associated with the milestone and the weight. Here I am putting 2. Getting back here, select the due date within the next week. Okay, and leave all other settings as they are. Wonderful. So due date, let's click edit, next week. Done. Create the issue. And we have a new issue associated with a milestone and with the label. Please do that. Please notice that we are required on the next step to create a second issue. So please perform this action and be ready to do this again. create a new issue, generate the text for it, associate with a milestone, put the label, put the weight, and the end date. And now let's do this again, right? I hope that you are able to follow these instructions. Again, going to plan issues, and you're probably on the same page, so you don't have to navigate anywhere. Click new item, and now we'll be titling it Use GLQL to enhance our project wiki. Copy, new item. And again, we'll be using the AI, the Tanuki icon, to generate the description. Here I am copying the description. Here I am clicking the Tanuki icon to use Duo. I'll be deleting the old prompt. Here's the new one. Provide a short description for using GLQL. Submit. Wonderful. So again, for this same issue, we would be assigning ourselves, add the label workflow review, putting a weight, this time it will be 6, and select due date for next week. So here we are. Assign myself, workflow review, weight 6, and was there something else? And not even the milestone, right? Submit, workflow review 6, date, right? Next week. Create issue. So now we have a second issue. Were you able to do that? Can I get another round of thumbs up? Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jochen. Let's wait another moment for people to catch up. Thank you, Matthew. And I am missing Carl. Carl, we will not proceed without you. Leave no man behind. How are you doing, Carl? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Claire, we'll be helping you shortly, okay? Yeah, I think we can jump in on your environment just as soon as we finish this section and perhaps help you. Okay. So with that, we've created 2 issues, right? In the normal way. Now let's use the quick actions to create another issue. So again, we are required to go to plan, work items, you should already be there, creating a new issue. This time, call it test service desk. This time we'll be using a template, which is a nice way of populating the issue with pre-made templates so that when people create issues, they would not have to figure out by themselves what to do there or just use the AI. They would be using the template. So here I am already on the create new issue screen. And here I am selecting a template, a ready-made template, workshop template. And it's already putting so many things there for me, right? The milestone, the label, the weight. and it's already there. So it's really a nice way of getting a standard ready for creating an issue. Please notice just one thing that I am editing and was not able to be generated automatically, and that is the assignee. So I will be putting myself there as the assignee. So with that, you would have everything populated and create the issue. Please follow that. All right, so let's do that. Take a moment to do that. And see if I can help you, Claire. Is that you? Claire Robertson.
I think she's running it on her own environment because she couldn't log in initially.
Oh, I see.
That might be you might not find her there.
I have a suggestion. Maybe also, can you invite Carl, who is not able to generate his environment? Maybe if you can find his username, if he has a GitLab username, maybe you can invite him to your production environment.
That's a
Carl,
good
if you
idea.
can provide your GitLab username, maybe Yasser will be able to put you into his environment. All right, so let's continue, please. So you will be using the template to generate a new issue. And now let's go to move issues in boards. We've created our work items. We've populated it enough, and now it's configured. Now let's try and track them. So now let's go to plan and issue boards. So in case not already selected, please remember the one that we've created, the new scope board. Okay? Please notice that the issues that we have created now appear on the open list. Let's see that. So here I am on the actual work project. Here I am on plan and issue boards, which we have seen just before. All right, so here I am on the development board, already seeing my features, but I want the teamed scope board. So here it is, really, right? Seeing the four columns that I have created, and we are seeing the open issues. And we're also seeing the workflow review issue here, right? Under its label. Please do that. Also, as you do that, please notice, click and drag the test out service task into workflow planning. That is the next step. We'll be dragging test out service desk into the workflow planning. So here I am doing that. I hope we're synchronized. Here I am on the board. And here I am dragging this. Please notice what happens as I do that, right? It seems like nothing happened here, but as I click on it, please notice it carries this label. It's not displaying it because it's just obvious to be there. But dragging it from one column to another changes the status sometimes and even the labels. So we'll be playing around with this for you to get the feeling of it, right? So moving the test out service desk into the planning actually adds the label there. That's the way that we keep track or move along through our development process. Now it's workflow planning, comes to us to just being open. Click and drag the same issue into workflow review, right? So now we'll be pushing this ahead into the review part. And then notice that it changed from planning. It's no longer planning because it's a scope label. It will be moved into workflow review. There will actually be a split second where you will able to see that on the actual board. Okay? Finally, we'll drag it into close. So we'll be dragging it forward. Please notice how the labels change, right? So let's do that. Here I am dragging this forward. Please notice what happens to the label, right? Planning, gone. So it actually shows us how the label is being removed as I do this. You used to have planning, now bam, it's gone. And it has the new one, workflow planning. Now, if I drag it to the final step, which is closed, we will also lose the label, but not only that, the issue has also changed its stat, right? Now it's actually closed. Issue can be open or it can be closed. Please do that and notice how the label is being changed. Please do that. All right. So simple enough, right? So we've closed it, and because we have put it on the same board, it really suggests that closing it no longer requires the label, so the label is removed. Please notice that the P2 label is still there because it's not a part of the board. There's no process here. So the board is not just merely, presenting things with the label, it actually dictates which label is on there and which one should be removed. So P2 is actually still remaining here because it's not part of the board. There's no column for P2. So finally, let's reopen the issue by closing it back to workflow planning because why would we close it? We haven't done anything to actually do that. So here I am taking it out of the closed into the planning. Wonderful. All right. So with that, we're done with the labels and we'll just go to the analytics to see the milestone. Um, Please, can I have another round of thumbs up for this one, just to make sure that we are all okay with the labels? Okay, great. Okay, so now we played around with the labels. Let's see how we can track down the milestone and what's associated with it. So this time we're heading to plan milestones, right? And we'll be clicking on the milestone that we've created. Obviously, it should be the only one there. And notice the burn up and burn down charts there, okay? So let's do that. Here we are again on the plan and milestones. Here's our milestone. This is the time box that we have defined. And please notice that now I actually have here issues appearing associated with this milestone. And as I complete it, I will see the burn up or the burn down of the issues being completed. Please notice here also on the bottom the division here between unstarted, ongoing, and finally the completed ones. Let's take a moment to do that. Let's take a moment to do that. All right. So I think it's simple enough. We've created work items, we created issues, we've used the frame that we've defined for it. We've used labels and milestones, we've assigned ourselves to it, and with that we have our basic work items. So, and with that we've also finished this part. So we'll do what we do whenever we finish an issue. well, we should have assigned ourselves to the beginning, right? Here we are on the instruction project, right? Contrary to the example project you've just created. Here I have assigned myself, and I will be also closing this issue because I'm done with it. Issue number one is now closed. So please do that. Let's have a thumbs up again. Sorry if I'm making you work with these thumbs, but we're moving to the next section. Great. Thank you so much for these thumbs up. It's really important for me to know that you're here with me. To Firefox. It's hard for me to believe it's with the Firefox. If you could maybe give details what it is that's not working. Updates of the issues were dragging. Maybe it's just a display thing. I would recommend that you click on the issue as you drag it from one column to another. Click on the issue, the actual issue, to see what's inside. You would have a panel opening with the issue and notice what the label there is, right? Don't mind so much what's happening on the column. Maybe it's a UI glitch on the Firefox. Just click the issue to see what's happening as you move it. All right? But still, no worries, really. It's really a minute thing. So let's get back to our to the presentation. We're done with this part, right? And now let's get on to the higher level plan portfolio, right? So as we understood from before, from the theoretical part, the issues are actually situated within a parent epic and a child epic. These are the ways of organizing things according to your organization and the way that you divide the work, right? Divide it down. So that's what we are going to do in this section. We'll be creating epics and sub-epics. As we do that, we'll be seeing them appearing on the roadmap. The roadmap is our feature for showing the epics and how they are proceeding and the progress and how are we close to completing it. So, having said that, let's move on to the next work item. So, please move on to planned portfolio releases, which is the issue number 2 on your instruction project. So here I am on the work items. I've already closed item number 1. So here I am going into planned portfolio releases, item number 2. And I'll be now opening this to see. And the first thing to do is assigning ourselves. So here I am assigning this to me. I'm the assignee of work item 2, issue number 2. So what we are required here to do, all right, is to start creating epics, right? So we will be heading into plan epics. Please notice that I don't have it here. I shouldn't be actually working here. This is the instruction project, but it's not available. That's your first sign that you're not in the right spot. Epics are not a part of a project. Why would they be? Issues are part of a project. So what you are required to do is to navigate to your group level. That is where the epics are actually being created, right? So please notice that. Here I am within a project. I don't have it. This is actually my project. I'll be navigating using the breadcrumb to my private subgroup that I've created, the Daniel subgroup. And as I go to plan, now I see work items, and I'll be able to, I actually have here epic boards, and I'll be able to create an epic here. So going into work items, I see the issues being rolled up from the sub projects, and I'm able to create an epic here. So what you're required to do is go to the group. You must do that because you're not able to create an epic within the project level. Go into the group, head on to plan work items, click new item, and you would have here epic, which is the entity that is created within the group lab. Again, let's use our copy pasting ability to copy the first GitLab epic, then adding a short description, start date today, select the end date of 1 week, and leave as is. So here I am doing this. Here's the title, top epic. And here I am putting a fixed date. Start date would be today and date next week. Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Maybe we should have that. But to maybe defend that, it's really meant for us to create a skeleton for creating an issue for a user story. But maybe there's room for that, right? But hey, don't worry about that because you don't have to listen to me. Even though perhaps that's probably the best answer. Before we used to have this all-present chat, all-powerful agentic chat, we would be using these buttons. But now, since you have this, Ben, you have this chat with you, you can always ask it to do things. So ask it away, okay? I have this title, give this first GitLab epic. I'm not sure what it can do with it, but give any description and, provide and tell it in the prompt, provide a description on how to implement this or a work plan for this, and it would do this for you. You're no longer limited to the GitLab buttons and where they are scattered. You can literally ask anything wherever you are. That's the power of it. So here we are with the fixed date today and next week. And we'll be hitting create epic. Wonderful. So having done that, you've created an epic. The step number 2 would be creating sub-epics. So this means that you've created one epic which will be used as the top level epic, the parent epic. Now we'll be creating sub-epics. It still requires us to go to the exact same place. Again, clicking on create a new work item, create new epics. This time we'll create an epic called GitLab Wiki Epic. Right? And we'll be doing this a second time for GitLab Service Desk Epic. So these two will be used as the child epics. Okay? Let's do that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but that's not the exact same place. Sorry, Lev, please excuse me. So in your newly created epic, let's create the epic there. Please excuse me for that mistake. So you could actually do that. That's fine if you create it independently, but it might be easier. So here is my epic, the one that I've actually created, and I'm opening it by myself, to have it open all over the screen. And here I have child items. I could actually create new child items. I could associate existing ones, and I could create a new one without having to go to the same form as before. Here I am pasting GitLab Wiki Epic and creating it. So now with the same feature, let's say I've created and associated a new epic as the child epic of this one. And let's create another sub-epic, GitLab Service Desk Epic. Create. Nice. So now I have 2 child epics. Please do that. Let's take a moment to do that, and then we'll continue to the next step. All right. So I trust that you were able to do that to create the parent epic and the two child epics. Now we'll be assigning issues into the sub epics. All right. So the first epic to be working with, the child epic, is the GitLab wiki epic, right? So we'll be doing the exact same process that we've done with the parent epic, creating the children. We'll now be going to the sub epics to add the child items, right? The sub issues, right? This time we'll be adding an existing issue. So please notice that we'll be adding the create project wiki, okay, to the GitLab wiki epic. All right. So let's do that. Here we are with the GitLab epic. I don't have to open this, I could use this as a panel. Child items, add existing issue. And it's very handy to notice here. Create project wiki. All right, and here's the add issue. Simple enough. Now we have a child item, which is an issue. This step also requires us to add, so to do this, use GLQL to enhance our project wiki to add this as well, right? And for the other epic, all right, let's do this one by one. So for GLQL is also should also be a child issue for this epic. So let's do this twice. Here I am adding, and here's GLQL to enhance our wiki page. Please notice you might have to click away somewhere, in case the drop down bothers you. Here I am adding the child epic. So child issue. So within the Tanuki, within the GitLab wiki epic, you would have two child items, two issues you would be adding here. And you would be doing the same thing for the other sub epic that we've created. So here I am going back into here, and I have here the second epic. Please notice that here that now the GitLab wiki page epic already has some items within it. Now I'm editing the GitLab service desk epic. I'm hoping you don't find this confusing, right? Here I am going to the second child epic, adding existing issue, test out service desk. And again, it correlates, right? You're noticing that you have an epic called GitLab service desk epic, and you're adding an issue called test out service desk, adding it. So this was a bit confusing, okay? Let's have another round of thumbs up and maybe questions if we need. You're required to create two child epics. Thank you, Ben. Two child epics. And for each child epic, please add child issues that are already existing. How's it going, Matthew? Sandrino, waiting for your thumbs up, Sebastian. Jochen, right. Thank you, Sandrino. Thank you, Matthew. Good, good. I'm happy you didn't find that confusing. I'll admit that the first time I tested it myself, I found it confusing. Which item goes where? It is a bit confusing. So even if you found that confusing, just please notice this, the goal here is to understand the hierarchy. You would need to create a top level epic, underneath it child epics that have some correlation to it, and each child epic must have some issues, which are the basic work items. That's where the user story is. Okay, good. Thank you. Good. I'm glad that it looks better. I think that mostly Chrome works better with these sorts of displays. All right, so we've gone this far. Now let's try to create iterations in order to break down the work. right? So what we have to do now is, again, going with the left panel, this time to plan iterations, right? And we will be creating a new iteration cadence. Let's use our copy pasting ability and copy this title, sprint cadence, right? This would be the name of the cadence. Then in the description, add iterations to track. So let's do this in a couple of steps. Here we are going into plan, iterations, new iterations, cadence. Here's the title and iterations to track team development during our 2-week sprint cycle. Okay, so doing that, what else do I need to do? We then need to add automatic scheduling, right? So start date would be today. Duration is 2 weeks. So that means that every sprint is 2 weeks, as the description suggests, and upcoming iterations as as 4, right? So let's do this. Start date is today. Duration, 2 weeks. Upcoming iterations, 4. That's 5 in total. Okay, so that's what we are required to do with automatic scheduling. Create. The recording will be sent, Carl. Don't worry. Thank you. Good luck. Anyway, so this is how we create a sprint cadence, right? Please let's take a moment to do that. You too. So head on to iterations, new iteration cadence, use the copy paste to create to copy the text, and automatic scheduling, 2 weeks per iteration, and upcoming iterations 4, and then create it. Let's take a moment to do that. All right. Now let's add the issues to the iterations. If you were able to do that, now that we have iterations, we need to divide our issues or assign those to to an iteration. So now we'll be making sure that we are under the Tanuki Racing group, okay? And click into the project. We would be in the project level, we're already there, so you need not navigate anywhere. And we'll be going into the issue board. All right. We'll be using the board as a means of, switching between issues. There are plenty of other ways of doing that. Once we have the issues in view, right, let's edit the iteration section per each issue and put in the current iteration. All right. So let's repeat that for all the remaining open issues. Let's do that. So here I am going into plan. Back to the issue board. I could use this board, but I would rather go into my own board. Right? And I've made the mistake, precisely the mistake that they've warned us about. Right? I could still do that, but I should go into the project level. Here I am within the project. This is very confusing. So here I am again going into plan, issue boards, again within the project scope, not the group scope. And here's my board, the one that I like and created. And here I am editing the issues, clicking on the first one. And I would edit the iteration here on the panel. Here's the current one. And I've added the iteration. I would be iterating through the rest of the issues to do that. Here's test out service desk again. Iteration, current one. and finally GLQL iteration, current one. So please repeat that for the issues, right? Should be seeing 3 of those. Let's do that. And again, I will trouble you for some thumbs up as you finish that, so we would be able to see those together on the roadmap. Thank you, Ben, Matthew, Sebastian, please, waiting for you, Sandrine, Jochen, Sandrino. Right, great job, everyone. Okay, so let's proceed. It's simple enough, just opening the issues wherever you may find them. It could be on the board, it could be under the work items, anywhere you find them, even within the epic, just find it and edit it on the right. You can see here, since we are working on an issue, I actually have the ability to do this. I would not have the existing issue because this is a completely different project. Now that we've divided our work into iterations, already put it on milestone, let's use the roadmap to actually see this. So for this action, we will be going to the group level, which is where the epics reside, right? So we'll be going to the group level, plan, roadmap. And let's expand the first GitLab epic to see how's it going there. So here I am, again, using the breadcrumb, going to the group level. And here I am with the plan and roadmap, which is the only place it would be available. It will not be available for project level. And here you would be finding your epic. You can unfurl it to see the sub-epics. Please do that. And whilst you do that, I will open the GitLab roadmap just to prove that we are actually using the same feature ourselves, and so that you would see how complex things are here for us. But we are still using the same feature ourselves with epics, sub-epics, milestones, right? So you would be seeing your nice simple plan here. Please notice on top the milestone that we've created, the time box for when we want this to happen, the migration, whatever. And here's the GitLab one with several milestones, with so many projects, so many epics and sub-epics. This is really how we do work, and we can even keep track of things here. You see 82%, 92%. You can change this to be according to weight or issue count. Okay? So please notice it. All right, so the next thing we'll be doing, in case that you were able to see the roadmap, now let's go and see the iteration. That'll be the final bit of keeping track of work. We noticed the milestone on the roadmap. Now let's see the plan iterations to see how an iteration is going. We will not be seeing much because no developer has yet done this, but that will change. So now let's head on to roadmap. Sorry, this is the GitLab one. Let's close this one. I will be going to the plan iteration. I think I created up my iteration on project level, right? So please, uh, here it is. Okay, so sorry, sprint cadence. And here's the current iteration. Here I am opening it. So we've associated issues with it, right? Please notice how the graph goes up because we've added these issues. We have a burn down and a burn up chart. We can see below that we have the issues and we have here the ratios of completed, incomplete, 3 out of 3, and unstarted, right? We could filter this according to count or weight, either way. Please have a look at that and I'll give you a moment to do that. once you have done that, please close this issue as well, as we have finished with this section, right? So going to the bottom, close this section. And we are done with this section. Please do that. So, all right. Can I have a quick round of thumbs, right? Just to know that you've finished and you were able to close this section. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Sandrino. Great. Great work. Let's head out for another break. I think this will be the last one because the next two sections are pretty easy. So let's take another 5-minute break. If you have any questions, please use that time to ask questions, right? And we'll reconvene in 5 minutes. The next two sections are very short. All right, everyone. Hello. I hope everyone is back here, and that was sufficient time for you to be on a break. So we'll be continuing now with the next two sections, which are really, really short. So I trust we'll be finished ahead of time. Um, so welcome back, everyone. I hope you're here. This section would be focusing on GLQL and actually doing the issues that we've been creating and put so much effort into. So let's understand what GLQL really means, right? So GLQL essentially is GitLab query language. It can be used in many contexts, but particularly we'll be using it within the GitLab wiki feature. Wiki pages are actually a way of sharing documentation, information, anything that you want to document your product or share its documentation. There are several formats you can create the wiki page with. Those would be Markdown, RDoc, ASCII doc, and so on, and you would be using GLQL as well for it. The thing to note about it that unlike maybe documents or other ways of storing files and information, this one is actually stored as a repo, not in the same one as your project, as a separate one. So you would have documentation in a different repo than the actual code, but it's stored and managed and backed up just same way that your code is. You have versions of it, and it's a really convenient way of managing your documentation and information. So with that, let's go into the GitLab query language, GLQL. So it says it's a brand new feature, but it's actually been around for quite some time. And this feature, as the name suggests, allows you to query all sorts of GitLab entities in order to present, to display, to monitor the information in your work. So this includes uh, um, work items, issues, epics, right? And it can also be featured within those work items. Actually, where almost in anywhere you are able to comment in and put in text, you'll be able to put your GLQL, right? Your query, and to show a table or a chart or anything you would like to share information to discuss it, right? So with that, let's go into the section, right? So please head on to the instruction here on issue number 3, GLQL on projects wikis. Here I am doing that. Work items, here's the remaining issue, and here I am opening it. So no, you would have GeoQL for premium as well. It's available, and it has nothing to do with Duo actually. You could use Duo to generate those, and that's a very favorable usage for Duo, right? Generate me a GeoQL query according to my need and save me the trouble, but absolutely available with premium and ultimate as well. So here I am on the GLQL issue, right? And unfurling it. What we are required to do here is heading out to Tanuki Racing Project, right? And going to the group view and going to the project. So we are actually in the project creating the wiki. So please notice that now we'll be heading to the navigation to go into plan issues. Gosh, sorry for this. Um, so create project wiki. We'll be creating a new project wiki within the plan, right? Sorry for this one. So this shouldn't be plan issues. It's actually here, okay? So plan wiki. So here I am copying. Um, so sorry. So this is the create project wiki. And this is the issue, rather. Okay, so we'll be heading on to the issue, plan issues, going to the create project wiki and set the weight to 5 and assign ourselves because we'll actually be the one developing this. So before heading out and creating the wiki, we'll be heading on to the issue itself to assign ourselves as assignees. So here I am going here, and here's the GitLab. Sorry, so this is the group level. Let's go into the project. Group level, here I am on the project. Here I am on the plan work items, and I'm seeing the issue for create project wiki. Here I am opening it wide, and I was required to put myself as assignee. I've already done that. Let's put the weight as 5, let's say, because it's really time consuming. So here I am on the create project wiki. That was the assignment here, right? And now let's add a comment here to let people know that we're actually working on it. As you can see, not the most important aspect here, but just to know that we are able to have a conversation here and update people what's going on. Let's comment that. Checking this issue out. And let's do that again with another comment. End goal of this wiki is to give insight into our adoption of GitLab. So adding in to the issue 2 comments. That's what you're required to do. Pretty simple. As you do that, and I hope I'm not annoying you, you will notice that right by the activity, which documents everything that we have done here, including the comments, we have a nice view summary button, right? We haven't much of a discussion here, but this is very useful when you have active discussions going for many pages, let's say for bugs or for features that are taking very long. You would find sometimes several pages of people, various roles talking to one another. And it's really time consuming sometimes to read all those. So if you would click here, you would have Duo, please ignore an error if you're seeing it, uh, summarize it for you. So obviously not much, right, to go by here. So not much for it to show, but if we have a very large discussion, it could be very useful. Let me turn off the agentic here. All right, someone is investigating and a wiki page is being created. Not much to go on, but again, if you have many, many comments, it's very useful. Please notice that I had faced an error was when I was using the agentic mod. Our agentic mod here is still in beta. Probably pressing it a couple more times or telling it to summarize the comments in this issue would get it to work. But in case you're still facing it, all right, it wants the URL, I can give it to it. But let's not fight too much with it. You can just turn off the agentic mod, which is still in beta, and click the button, and it will work. See, okay, it has several comments. Checking this issue out, okay? Um, so having done that, we're done with the comments, and let's get into the actual implementation. So with the implementation, we'll be going to plan and wiki, all right? We'll be creating a first page, right? And we'll be adding the title home with the context being, with the content being this, all right? So let's create the first page. Here I am on the project, plan, wiki. Create your first page. Let's close here, collapse the sidebar. Home, and let's just paste the content here, right? The very first page. Create page. Please do that. Let's take a moment. Can I have some thumbs up? It's been a while since I've asked that, so please let me know if you're uh, up to this point. All right, creating the new homepage. Pretty simple. Thank you so much for the participants. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Sandrino. Let's wait another moment for people to catch up. Thank you, Sebastian. Let's take another moment. Just heading out to the wiki page. Thank you, Matthew. Good. Thank you. All right. So now we'll be actually adding the new GLQL, right? So still on the home wiki preview, all right, on the left hand, and hover over to the home wiki and click the plus, right? The plus icon. So we'll be adding actually two sub pages, you could call it, under the home. Please notice that it can be a bit confusing, but if I am here standing on the home, I can actually add a new page under this section, right? So I will call this would be home, and I would be copy pasting the requirement here and to uh, call it, what was the name? Hover over to the wiki, click the plus icon and replace the new title with issue table, right? So we are going to create a query for an issue table. Copy paste. Here it is, minus the dot. And handy with us here is the actual query. We don't have to form it ourselves. Just a couple of things to notice. Please notice that as you do this, right? Here, we will be experiencing, this is what marks a GLQL query. Because we're copying an existing one with this text, right? It will have extra of those quotation marks, which we will have to remove. The second thing that we will have to notice is these placeholders with the session code and your group name. So I will be editing those and requiring you to do the same in order for you to see the issues that you should be seeing. So here I am pasting this, and as promised, I have double the quotation mark. Here I am removing the ones on top and the ones beneath. All right, so you would have to do this every time copying the text from those boxes. And here I am needing to replace the session, right? So this is the session for the laboratory. Handy for us, it's over here on top. So here I am copying from the URL session all the way to my project, all the way up to here, from the session to the project. And here I am replacing it all the way from the session to the project, paste. And if you've done this successfully, you should be seeing a table. Now, no worries if you failed somehow, because this is a bit tricky and you would not be the first one to experience an error and then fix it on the GLQL. And for those of you who have been attending from the start and listening, you could always use Duo. Oh, and actually missed an I there. You could actually use Duo to fix those for you. So you might say, hey, here's my query. What's wrong with it? Why am I not seeing it? Um, Help me fix it. Why am I seeing an error on it? It's very standard procedure, of course, that the AI can sometimes hallucinate. That's also very standard, but it's useful all the while to use it. So I've created this query, which gives me the issues. Let's notice the query that's being created here. We're actually asking it to give me issues from this project, and the state is open. We have these fields, right? Title, stat, health, epic, and so on, and limits 10. All right. So that's what we have here. So you might ask, okay, what's the big deal here of having this table? The thing is, it's dynamic. I'm not just writing down a table and listing things there and might have to update this. This is here to update anytime something changes, right? I have here the three dots, and if something changes, I can simply reload this. So this is, you could consider this as living dashboard, living documentation to what's being done, what's being developed, what's finished in this project. You can always share, always look at. So please do that. Let's take another moment. And next, we'll be heading to the next step of advanced GLQL features. Let's take another moment. All right. So now let's do the advanced one, all right? The next step, right? So advanced GLQL query in much the same way, okay? Um, let's create another wiki page called recent activity. So here I am copying this, sorry. Again, hovering over to home, create a new page. Recent activity. And for this one, I have a new query, again in the same manner. Here I am copying it, pasting it, removing, please remember to do that, the extra quotation mark on the beginning and the end. Please leave the ones that are must have for the GLQL, right? Top and bottom, just remove the extra ones. And again, I'll be fixing the placeholders. So here I am copying the session, all the way to my project over here. All right. And with that, hopefully, see? So let's see what happened. Project does not exist, do not have access to it. I must have pasted. Oh, I've pasted more than I should. I pasted more than I should. Here I am copying this again, placing. How come nobody warned me on when I did this mistake? Has me worried. Here I am copying this again, this time pasting it from the sessions all the way to the end, removing the extra quotation. Could I create a wiki in the organization level and create a wiki with pages for each project used as a management summary? Yes, well, trying to follow your question, right? You could create wiki pages in not just in projects, but also in group level. And in group level, you're able to see all the way down. That's usually the GitLab structure. So you could go to the top level group, which is the might be the organization level, and query all the way down. That's why as we use this query, right, we are here in a specific project, but we were querying project equals, right? That's the one that I was having trouble with, the one that you were having to edit all over again to put the project. So definitely you could be on a top level group, querying all the way down, filtering it, dividing it into different groups, different projects. Yes, and create that as a dashboard for management for project progress all the way down. Hope that answers your question. So this was a tricky part, right? I have to say that one of my comments maybe for this workshop is not to have a query that requires the participants to edit. It's a failing point. Um, Gladly. So can I have a thumbs up for this, right? How are you doing, everyone? Ben, Sandrino, Matthew. Good. Okay, here's Ben. Let me know how you're doing. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Jochen, you're still with us. Sebastian, Oleg. All right, I trust that you are doing. Not working yet, okay? Please feel to share with us. I mean, we're here to help you. And since you're participating all along, please share with us your query. What's your trouble? We can copy it, paste it into our environment, and we'll be here to help you. It is tricky, you know. So finally, for the last step here, right? Let's add a comment here, all right? So we can also add text and comment here, and its wiki are also a place for discussion. So let's add a comment here, right, on different pages. So let's hop to the home page, right? And comment on our homepage that you have checked out the project wiki. And here's the home page. And here's my comment. I have checked out the project wiki comment. And having done that, we're done with this section. So let's close this issue as we have finished it. And I've not even assigned myself. Assign myself, close issue. All right, so I hope you are following this again. If you're having trouble with the wiki, with the GLQ, please paste it here, share it with us. We'll be happy to help you fix it. And again, it can get tricky, you know, and you could even use Duo to do that, Johan. You know, put it in the chat and uh, okay, great. So you managed to figure it out. And working with AI, I think that's really key, and that's one of the values that we're offering here to customers, right? You would have AI all the way with you. You don't have to change context to anywhere. It's here with you to help you with any aspects. Moving along to the last section of GitLab is the service desk feature. So we've created issues ourselves and epics, but what about issues, bugs, and feedback from the field, right? So we'll be now using a GitLab feature called Service Desk. It's really a feature that allows us to receive feedback from the customers and process it into issues into our system so that we can actually work on it, right? It's a way of collecting issues from the field. And the way it's done is through an existing integration. You would not have to configure anything via emails. We would have a designated email address for your group that was generated for you that customers or anyone else from outside your organization are able to send an email to, and that would be processed uh, uh, as a an issue, right? So here are some common use cases for that project specific email address. Each email that you would receive would show up as an issue. Team members could go to the service desk to see the issue tracker and see what feedback they've received. You can communicate through the service desk to your customers so that they would know that you've received it, just like you might send an email to any office, to any company, and you would have an automatic feedback, or you would see someone on it, you would receive an email reply, and could actually work on it as if this was a part of your own system. It's a way of keeping your customers, your external users inside the loop, inside the system, and really being able to work on things that matter to you. And it also provides a good experience for the customer. So with that theory, let's let's actually test that out. So here I am again on the uh, uh, instruction project heading out to the final issue, right? Issue number 4, service desk integrated feedback. Here I am assigning myself and working on the service desk, right? So the issue is actually enabled. You don't have to do anything in order to get this rolling. What you would have to do is to get the email. So go to monitor service desk, right? To see it. This functionality is enabled by default, right? Just some customization that we would put there just before using it, okay? So again, this is where we would be going, but before actually going to monitor service desk, let's do some customizations. Let's go to settings, general, all right? Not here, but on your example project. We'll be scrolling down to expand the service desk option, right? And when we are there, notice that there are several options there, specifically setting things about the email. Okay, so we would check that reopen issues when external participants commit. All right, that is enable. All right, and check that one. So let's go there, and here I am on my example project. Here's the sorry, let me expand this. Here's the settings, general. Scrolling all the way down to service desks with all the options. Reopen issues when external participant comments. It's a nice thing to have. And we also were asked to change the email display name. So here I am again. Copying Tanuki Racing Support Bot. Copy and paste. So email replies would be from this date. And save changes. Splendid. So please do that. Let's give it a moment. All right, please go to your project, general, settings, general, scroll down to the service desk, check the checkbox for reopen issues. Not that we'll be having so many emails here, and change the name to Tanuki Racing or whatever it is you may like. All right. Having done that, let's test out. All right. So we would need to locate our email address for this. So that would be under monitor service desk. Let's go and see the email there. So here I am going there. Here's monitor service desk right here. And this would be the email address, right? So you could embed it somewhere in your website or somewhere else. This is not the nicest thing. That can also be replaced in the settings in case you want to. But that will be the one that we'll be using. So let's copy this to have it handy. So once you have the email, head on to your mailing software, if it's Gmail or anything else, and let's send the email, okay? Paste that, right, to that address, and let's put the subject here as Tanuki Racing feedback and some description on world record not showing on the leaderboard, right? Some sort of a complaint. Let's do that. Here's my Gmail. Here's the new mail. Here I am pasting the email address. Here's the subject. What was it? Feedback for something. Feedback for Tanuki. Tanuki Racing feedback. Let's use the copy pasting trick. cut, paste. My world record is not showing up on the leaderboard. And send the email. All right, so as we've done this, we'll need to wait a couple of moments. This is your time to actually do this. Wait a few seconds and you should see the email appear in our service desk view. Okay? And I've already received an auto reply. Let's head on. I hope you're following here. And let's go to the service desk again to see the email. And here I have it. All right, so please let's do that. Let's take a moment to do that. And I'd be happy again to have another round of thumbs up from the participants. So Ben, Sandrino, Matthew, everyone waiting for your feedback. Thank you. Cool. Thank you, guys. So it's really simple, as you can see. And heading back to my email, here I have my response from the Tanuki Racing support bot that we have configured. Thank you. So we actually have a loop here, right? With customers actually creating a report for us, a feedback, which reaches our project. And it's actually an issue now, right? So it's you can notice that this is actually now an issue with the email subject as the title. Here I am clicking on this. So something about the confidentiality, don't worry about this, but this is an actual issue, right? And if I were to go to our wiki page with the open issues, I would see this. So it's really a nice way of getting issues into your project management through the customers and treating it and fixing it. You see, here's the description and really uniting the customer feedback with the way that you develop your software. I hope this was clear. Um, so I think this really wraps it up. We could really go there, but I think the theory behind it is clear enough, right? Of being able to use the wiki pages to document the things that you work on and even see customer feedback there. So with that, I think we have wrapped up this section and let's close the issue. And let's proceed to conclusion. You could transfer this project. I don't really recommend that you do this, right? I suggest you keep working on this environment while it's up, but it's up to you. You're able to transfer the project or download it in case you want it, but I wouldn't recommend it, okay? There's absolutely no need, and this might also be confusing because this project has some ultimate features, and from our experience, if you're used to Ultimate on the lab environment and trying to import things, you might get confused if you have premium. So that's the main reason I would really suggest this would be up, I think, for 2 weeks now. So if you want to play around, please feel free to do so, and you don't need to actually migrate the project here. So now let's conclude, okay? And we've reached the really final part. There's another part of doing project management, right? And that's the retrospective. How were we doing? How are our metrics? Where could we improve on? And there's actually quite a few standards out there. The most common one is DORA, right? DevOps Research Assessment, and it's made of several several key metrics that are measured as a standard, let's say, of measuring DevSecOps, widely accepted standard. And GitLab offers that. With GitLab as one platform for the entire development process, you're actually able to measure that. You don't need any external tool. So in case you are interested in doing a retrospective and understand, okay, what were my bottlenecks? How long were issues lying in the backlog? How long does it take for a developer to develop or do code review? What's my failure rate for my changes. You could use GitLab to do that without any intervention. So here we have the value stream metrics combining the DORA metrics. I hope you can see this. This is rather small. But it really means that if you would want to have hindsight into how you were doing in past quarters with certain project, you would have these metrics available for you to see the cycle time, to see the failure rate, how many incidents you had versus how many changes you've made, and so on. So that's really useful when you have one platform for the entire work process end to end, that you're able to get these analytics without any extra work. You don't have to approach several softwares, several tools to get the information on how work was done there. You would have transparency into the entire process. And finally, summing it up, okay? The great idea behind what we've experienced today and GitLab is in general is about augmenting your development process, right? First of all, with AI, we've already seen that helping us promote our issues, generate our issues for us. We can do this with integrated milestones and automatic burn down charts. We can track our work. It's all be very simple on the same platform. We have the strategic hierarchy that we came to learn of, the epics, the sub-epics, to restructure organization. That is also something that is unique versus other solutions. I won't name them, that we actually have a really complex hierarchy that could fit your organization, not just epics and user stories and tasks. The next thing is obviously the power of GLQL, the ability for you to create a living documentation for your work that is constantly updated, a sort of a dashboard, something you can see in organization level and separate into various queries by projects, by status, by health, to really see how things are going and provide useful documentation that is constantly being updated. You don't need to update it yourself. And finally, the last part, the service desk to have customer connection through the email. I hope you found that useful. With that, we'll conclude with live QA. So please feel free to unmute yourself, ask any questions, really anything that you would want to ask about this workshop or GitLab in general, and provide feedback for this, anything you would want. Was it clear? Anything you would find something else? Before leaving, please, Ben and everyone else, you have this QR code, and why don't I share with you this link to provide feedback right before you're all leaving here, right? Please use this QR and use this link to provide feedback. But again, here we are on QA. So are there any questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Anyone? Can GLQL do things like count number of issues assigned to a user? I can't see anything in the docs. If not, is there a plan to add it? I think there is actually, so definitely one of the filters there. Why don't I open it? Um, GitLab, GLQL fields. I think it's definitely there. So assignees. So fields inside a query, you could definitely put the assignee, one or many, and filter according to assignee. Definitely you're able to do that. Sure. Um, Here it is again. I hope it's working. Yasser, would you mind clicking on it? Would be nice to have a list of assignees and a count of open tickets. I can't imagine why you wouldn't be able to do that. Definitely, you can create a query of all the open issues for a list of assignees. Definitely, you're able to do that. You're also able to do that with boards, which you've experienced. You could create a board for if that's your purpose, by the way, usually you would like to have a board with all your team members and what each one is working on. So that's probably the go-to for that. I would create a board, divide it into the team members, and just see who is doing what and perhaps change from one another. And also work with capacity management. I think we've skipped that, but we can create capacity for each person to say how many story points they could work on, and it would go red. Um, so I would use boards for that. But in case you want to have that reflected to management or wide, that would be the way to do that with TLQL. Where do I think AI can substitute any step? Gosh, honestly. All of them. All of them. Uh, you've seen how flexible the wiki page is, right? So you create a table there, you create query there, and you create all sorts of diagrams and charts. So please consider Duo. That's why it's called Duo, because it's your partner there. Um, Please consider him to be your private painter, right? Do you need to have a table? Do you need to have a if you have, let's say, Rembrandt as your personal assistant, would you need to give him a nice plastic flower pattern to paint a rose garden? No, you have Rembrandt for you. So Duo can do anything. Actually, I use Duo to create my wiki page for the entire organization or for entire development process. I tell him, please give me a wiki page with Gantt charts with the participants. We were just asked about assignees and ticket, anything, and you would get really colorful, really professional charts and tables according to your needs. So AI can do that. Agentic AI Duo, and we have a workshop for that as well, is able to do anything. It can create issues for your on your behalf. It can create wikis. It can implement those. So really any step, the usage and incorporation of Duo into your work process, it really turns you into a manager of AI. You could use AI for anything, and that turns you into a manager. Instead of doing manual work, you'll just be refining the work that AI can do for you. So we've seen here creating issues, creating epics, creating groups, and creating documentation. All those could be handled by AI, especially particularly Duo. Any more questions? All right, everyone. So with that, I think we are adjourned. Thank you so much for being a part of this. It's been a rather long workshop, so thank you for listening and participating. Please take your time to fill in the feedback, and wishing you all the best. We're here to help you with your endeavors into DevSecOps. Please feel free to contact us, and we'll be with you. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.